I think ego has a massive amount to do with this. I think anyone who's going to be in Jahannam, may Allah protect us, the ego is going to be a massive. And this is what they're saying here, that like Allah chooses someone to be a messenger, right? And you see that person messaging, like, no, Allah didn't give you nothing. You're not special. You're not this. Because sometimes it's your own insecurities, it's your own kind of faults, whatever, that you dismiss the person, you dismiss the message because you yourself feel inferior. Because if they hadn't said that, if they didn't say Allah hadn't revealed, and instead they said, yes, Allah has revealed to you, that would naturally then lead them onto a path of guidance. But the ego just kind of got in the way of that.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the next episode. We'll get right into it. Verse number 6, Surah Al-Mulk. وَلِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ عَذَابُ جَهَنَّمَ وَبِئْسَ الْمَصِيرُ إِذَا أُلْقُوا فِيهَا سَمِعُوا لَهَا شَهِيقًا وَهِيَ تَفُورُ تَكَادُ تَمَيَّزُ مِنَ الْغَيْظِ كُلَّمَا أُلْقِيَ فِيهَا فَوْجٌ سألهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم نذير قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير فكذبنا وقلنا ما نزل الله من شيء إن أنتم إلا في ضلال كبير. Okay, so I recited 4 verses here, which are related. So we'll talk about these 4, inshallah, in this episode. Those who disbelieve in their Lord will suffer the punishment of hell. What an evil destination. When they are tossed into it, they will hear it roaring as it boils over, almost bursting in fury. Every time a group is cast into it, its keepers will ask them, did a warner not come to you? They will reply, yes, a warner did come to us, but we denied and said, Allah has revealed nothing. You are extremely astray. Okay, so this is continuing with the last time we ended, and it mentioned the punishment, right? And we said we have that proper balance, and also from the perfection of the Creator, the Ilah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that not only He has mercy, but He is also has prepared punishment for those who deserve. Right, so because Allah is so merciful, anyone who doesn't deserve punishment will not be punished. Right, so we don't have to worry about that. Will this person be punished? Because we're not the deciders. Right, even if we were the deciders, we will be biased. Allah is the one who is completely just, and His mercy is more overtaking than His punishment or His justice. So it's something for us to remember there. So with that, now it's describing the details of those punishments. Right. So first thing is also to remember that, look, if you feel lazy and you're not really motivated by the pleasures of Jannah, by seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and enjoying the company of the righteous, remember the alternative is really bad. Right. So Muhammad, I'm curious, what do you think about the importance of having these two elements, the fear and the alternative, the harsh reality, the punishment, when it comes to motivating people?
Yeah, I think it's really important, and I learned this very early on in my personal development career that human beings were motivated by pleasure, and that's why you hear so much about Jannah. But we're also motivated by pain, and some research suggests that we're actually more motivated by pain than pleasure. So I think it's really, really amazing that obviously the Quran would talk from a pain perspective as well as a pleasure perspective, and I think the thing that's really kind of crying out to me in these verses that we've been through is there's a question in here, right? And the question is kind of based upon like Jahannam so bad that the person asking the question is going like, how did you end up here? Like, how did you get here? Right? Because obviously the mercy of Allah is so huge, but how did you get here? And it's like, didn't someone warn you about this place? Like, how come you're here? So
Exactly.
It's just so deep to like hear that like that.
Right. So I think this is really beautiful, because if you are essentially getting there, right, that really means that like you are totally a slave of your own soul, right? And this is something like we know from the hadith that's mentioned about when Jibreel alayhi salam saw Jannah and the Nar, is like like something to the effect of like how would someone end up there, right? I mean, I can't see someone not coming to Jannah and ending up in Nar. Yeah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surrounded the hellfire with the shahawat and the desires and the distractions, and showed him that then he realized and appreciated that how it's basically having that sort of instant gratification essentially, right, and not thinking beyond it, and that's what kind of leads you to that. But this is a warning, and that's what we are hoping that as we read in Quran day in and day out, for us to be warned with this and to rectify our affairs. I want to comment quickly on the fact about the alternative or the fear or the pain or running away from the pain. I think this is something I saw with Jordan Peterson as well. So he mentions that not only do you know how we typically do, or write your 5-year plan and what you're going to achieve, but write the alternative as well, right? And I think that's what I try to encourage in some of the workshops that we do here is not only plan what's possible and what you can achieve in the next 5 years, 10 years with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but also think that what would happen if you don't change your current habits, So it's not like if you take something simple as like, health routines or being healthy. So it's not that, yes, in a year or 2 years, you can have this, amazing body and amazing performance and, energy. But if you continue what you're doing, how worse will it become in the next 2 years? Right? Or if you don't change your habits or don't change education, whatever. So I think that's a very important point of having the fear element to it is really important as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think just on the last verse there, which we recited, verse number 9. So subhanAllah, like from the mercy and justice of Allah, they will acknowledge that, look, yes, we got the knowledge. So there's no denial there that we didn't have the knowledge. Oh, if we knew, we would have done better, right? And so what the qualities that you're seeing is that, yes, they had the knowledge, but with their action or their dialogue, they were saying that, look, you know what? We don't respect you. We don't want to follow you. Allah has not revealed anything, and you are in extreme misguidance. And I think this is something that really happens in terms of what are your thoughts about like how sometimes people evaluate the teachings of religion, compared to the modern, messaging that's out there.
There's a lot. I think ego has a massive amount to do with this. I think anyone who's going to be in Jahannam, may Allah protect us, an ego is going to be a massive part. And this is what they're saying here, that like Allah chooses someone to be a messenger, right? And you see that person messaging like, no, Allah didn't give you nothing. You're not special. You're not this. You're not this. Because, sometimes it's your own insecurities, it's your own kind of faults, whatever, that you dismiss the person, you dismiss the message because you yourself feel inferior, you feel like that. And so much of this is letting your ego kind of take over. Because if they hadn't said that, if they didn't say Allah hadn't revealed, and instead they said, yes, Allah has revealed to you, that would naturally then lead them onto a path of guidance, But the ego just kind of got in the way of that, I think.
Yes, and I think this ego is not with people to people. Most of the time, this ego is between man or the human being against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because then you're saying, oh, why should I wear hijab? Why should I pray? Why should I not take usury and interest and whatnot? Because you want to do it, but only if it makes sense to me, only if I can rationalize it. But you forget the power and the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on you. However, when it comes to other human beings, I think pretty much everyone has someone that they look up to and they blindly follow them. They may be able to mention few things like, for example, you being in marketing would say, yeah, you know what, we do this XYZ in marketing. This comes from, some of these, top marketing gurus, or someone in investment may call that, yeah, you know what, Warren has this, Buffett has this strategy and we should do this. And then they may have some understanding of it, but the reason they're doing it is because of who Warren Buffett is and what he has done for himself, blah, 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 right? When it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his right upon us and his authority over us, his wisdom, we're like, oh yeah, why should I do it? Right? And then sometimes I ask people like, oh, why do we fast? And many people are like, to feel the pain of poor. And the reason they're doing this is because, look, you want to have an explanation that confirms to some standard that other people can relate to. But that's not what you're fighting. You realize that, look, Allah is authority over me. I have the ability to eat and I have the food and drink. But Allah has put some boundaries and I'm going to respect that boundaries. And there's nothing to be ashamed about it.